The best thing about the iPhone Air is how much it freed Apple to make the Pro phones even more pro. Have you noticed that these new Pro phones are actually thicker than last year's model? That extra room is inside for bigger batteries, a vapor chamber, and a bigger camera system. This is the most maximalist an iPhone has ever felt, and honestly, I really like it. Here's a little secret. The Pro phone is always the best-selling one, by far. Over half of the sales distribution this year are for the Pro Max model specifically. And it's fun to watch Apple walk this line between being a more pro phone and also being the most mainstream phone. The cameras are, year after year, the most pro thing about the Pro iPhone. No professional actually says, "Thank goodness, I have 8 lenses now in my smartphone." But the 3 cameras you get are now more evenly matched than they have ever been before. The primary and ultra-wide cameras are essentially unchanged from the previous year. The telephoto camera gets a huge update. It is now also a full 48-megapixel sensor. Last year was a 5x zoom at only 12 megapixels, but this one is a 4x with much higher resolution. The new 4x lens feels like a much more natural portrait focal length for my use.
All of your zoom shots will have much more detail and significantly less noise, thanks to the larger sensor.
I have to give them credit for the specific 2x zoom increments they offer. The phone specifically processes 2x images to be sharper than a pure digital crop would be. It's a really nice total package now. 3 matching 48-megapixel cameras. These cameras are just as reliable for casual shooters as they are for professionals. I still find myself wishing they made some other improvements, to be honest. The point light problem at night, where those little flares always show up, still hasn't been fixed. There's a 2TB iPhone model now, so 8K video support feels just a flip of a switch away. What you're watching right now is ProRes RAW view footage from the iPhone 17 Pro. This means I can literally change the ISO and white balance after I shoot the video, which is very useful. So just know that the file sizes for this ProRes RAW footage are absolutely huge, though. They even added Genlock support, which lets devices stay in sync over large multi-device shoots. The selfie cameras are also more pro than ever before in this generation. Let's be real, 95% of people just point and shoot, and the camera is more capable than ever for that. My favorite thing about this new Pro iPhone is actually the new overall design. If you want a super thin phone, then go get the Air, but if you don't care, here's the new Pro. It goes the other direction and isn't afraid of a few extra fractions of an inch, and I love that philosophy. It's an all-unibody metal jacket now. This is no longer a glass sandwich design. The entire body of the phone is metal, with just glass cutouts for wireless charging. This construction makes the phone more durable and makes more room inside for the battery. There's enough room now for a vapor chamber for the first time ever in an iPhone. I actually think the new plateau at the top is great. It's a natural resting spot for my index finger. Corning's ceramic shield is clearly awesome for preventing all those annoying scratches on the front glass. Now for a couple of nitpicks. There is still no black color Pro phone, you sickos. It feels like Apple is doing this just to spite me, denying us a truly dark, neutral color. We really need a dark, neutral color, especially since the color shows up around the front bezel. You literally see the color you picked all the time around the display. That makes the orange and the silver colors that much more annoying for people like me. You've probably seen the chatter about Scratchgate, which is how easily the anodization seems to scratch off. When the anodization scratches off, it reveals the raw silver aluminum underneath it. The most vulnerable spot is going to be around the tightest corner radii, like around the camera plateau. As a person who always rocks my phone with no case, I haven't actually had any issues yet. We have to talk about the insides of this phone because there's even more going on under the surface. The A19 Pro chip, shocker, is pretty great, benchmarking around 20% faster than the last generation. Paired with iOS 26 and a new 12 gigs of RAM, these phones feel incredibly quick and snappy. The extra thickness made room for a vapor chamber, and it has actually made a real difference to the thermals. These phones rarely got any more than slightly warm to the touch for me, even under heavy load. As a result, it was able to hold higher frame rates longer while gaming. It also keeps the display brightness higher when recording videos for an extended period of time. The stuff that makes a really good Pro iPhone is also awesome for regular, everyday use too. The masses also really enjoy the nicer screens, the improved cameras, and the longer-lasting batteries. We've all been saying for years, hey, just make a thicker phone and put more battery in it. Having an iPhone Air focusing on getting super thin let them feel free to go the total other direction.
Now every single other phone in the lineup gets even thicker with bigger batteries inside.
The 17 Pro has a full 20% bigger battery than the model from last year. The Pro Max model actually cracks the 5,000 mAh mark for the first time ever, which is huge in iPhone land. We also finally get 40-watt charging now, which is a significant improvement. That's half the battery charged up in about 20 minutes. To Apple, that's a big deal. Now, in Android land, obviously, that kind of looks like nothing. I get it. It's nowhere near the Ultra phones with 6,000 mAh batteries and 100-watt charging. But for a phone that ships in the volume that the iPhone does, I am very happy to see this sort of improvement. The iPhone is already so efficient that I'm getting a nice 5+ hours of screen on time every day. It's lasting all day with around 30% or more left over, so I am loving the endurance. There are just all sorts of other little things too, like with this screen. I think this is the first generation of iPhone that's had a toggle for PWM dimming. It's buried in the accessibility settings, but you can search and find it, and that is very welcome to many people. There's also a slightly noticeable, but better than nothing, anti-reflective coating on the display.
The display also gets slightly brighter now, reaching up to 3,000 nits peak.
Satellite connectivity has now expanded to cover messaging and location sharing, which is really useful. The paradox is that making the Pro iPhones more Pro is actually better for all the masses. This is easily the best Pro iPhone yet, and I think it's the most freed one too.
When they eventually make some iPhone Ultra, I'll probably still want all of that over this model.
But for right now, this is really good stuff, and the improvements are significant. I really appreciate the durability boost that the new unibody design provides.
The performance gains are tangible, making this phone feel truly instantaneous in every single task. Finally, an iPhone with a vapor chamber that keeps the heat perfectly managed under load. Switching to 48 megapixels on the telephoto was a smarter move than simply keeping a higher optical zoom level. The increased sensor size on the telephoto helps immensely with reducing noise in those darker shots. The ability to adjust white balance after shooting is a huge workflow improvement for professional videographers. That 40-watt charging is a welcome speed jump, even if it's still far from the competition. The Pro Max is finally a true battery king for a high-volume flagship phone. It's not perfect, but that new anti-reflective coating definitely helps when using the phone outside. Aesthetically, the new camera plateau is growing on me, especially as a resting point. Seriously, Apple, just give us a simple matte black Pro phone next year, please. The 3 main cameras being equally reliable at 48 megapixels is a massive win for consistency. The jump to 12 gigs of RAM feels necessary and keeps everything running fluidly in the background. If you are concerned about the scratch issue, a case is still your best line of defense, of course.
The 3000 nits peak brightness means using this screen in direct sunlight is now perfectly fine. The new 4x lens gives us a fantastic, natural-looking focal length for shooting portraits. This Genlock support is proof that Apple is seriously catering to high-end media production teams now.
I'm still holding out hope for 8K video. The processing power is definitely there already. I wish they would offer that special processing quality on all digital zoom increments, not just the 2x crop. This phone feels more robust and less fragile in my hand than any previous generation. Having a toggle for PWM dimming will make a huge difference for people who are sensitive to screen flickering. If you want the absolute best and most complete iPhone experience right now, the Pro Max is definitely the one to get. It's a paradox in a box, built for the Pro, but bought by everyone, and it's better for it.